It has been such a long wait for all of us Downton Abbey fans, but it is now nearly over. Come January 5th, we can all welcome back our favorite upstairs, downstairs drama. This morning, the show's creator and 7 of its stars are here with us in the studio with a sneak peek at the new season. Take a look.
Matthew was dead 50 years before his time. Isn't that enough for me to deal with? Just leave me alone.
Exactly what I was afraid of. She is living a nightmare, and we must all step back and allow her to come through it in her own time. Aren't I right, Mama?
No. We can't discuss it now. This mousse is delicious, Carson. Is it the work of Mrs. Patmore?
And here they are now, Downton Abbey stars and creator. I'm just going to go through the list. Laura Carmichael, Julian Fellows, Michelle Dockery, Hugh Bonneville, Phyllis Logan, Rob James Collier, Leslie Nichol, and Alan Leach. We welcome you all to Good Morning America. And Julian, I'd like to start with you because you have said that you got a lot of heat in the days after we all saw the untimely death happen. What was that like for you? What was your reaction?
Well, it was a bit shocking, actually, because I had letters from people literally saying, I will never watch anything you're anything to do with again, you know, all this stuff. And they didn't realise that in England, we only have 3-year contracts, and when people want to leave, they leave.
Right.
And they can't just vanish. You can't send them up the chimney. You know, if they're a member of the family, I'm afraid if they're never going to come back, it's the Grim Reaper. It's the only answer.
Right, it's true. And on the show, things were looking so well for Michelle, your character, and Matthew. And so I guess it would have been a little odd for them suddenly to start fighting or split up.
Well, and also never to come back. He's got a son, he's got an estate. It just wasn't believable. I'm afraid he had to breathe his last. We're very sorry, but that was the way it had to be.
That is the way it had to be. And so, Michelle, for you, life now moves forward. What is that like for you, life without Matthew, for your character? Can you give us a glimpse into what we'll see?
Well, Mary very much reverts back to the kind of cold, icy side again, inevitably, because she's, you know, because of what she's going through. And it's something that I wasn't expecting, and that we all weren't expecting, really. I was expecting marital bliss and, you know, bringing up babies.
So you were surprised by the way.
Well, no, I knew. I mean, I knew that had to be. You know, that's the way it had to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but she does. She needs to move on, and so there are new suitors.
And yeah,
there's 1 or 2 or 3.
I love it.
Yeah, and she's adjusting, really. And that's what the 4th series is about for Mary. Is
that's what's
moving
happening.
on. Yeah.
Okay, and Laura, your character, we hear is sort of going to come into her own in a whole new way. You play Mary's sister,
yeah.
But I was reading that maybe it's not quite as easy as you thought it would be, the modern world.
No, well, nothing's simple or easy, but no, it's really fun, season 3. She has this sort of London life going on with her editor.
Are you saying so? Edith gets wild in the next season.
Kind of, yeah. It's fun. It's a good story for her, and a nice contrast with Mary, who's grieving. So Edith gets to escape Downton Abbey and go to London and have a sort of a different life there, which
and
is
build
great.
her own life. She's building her own life, really, in the world of the 20s, which is quite different to the world before the war.
And those costumes, the clothing, it must be so fun.
Yeah, it's great. I had a lot of fun this year with the clothes.
Hugh, I'd like to ask you, because things you seem to be warming up to the idea of you know, Matthew. You guys were doing a great job getting him to get a little more progressive in terms of saving Downton Abbey. What happens now? Are you going to revert back?
Well, now Robert is faced with the burden of death duties, since Matthew was the co-manager, if you like, co-owner of the estate. And so now there's a big debate on how best to run the estate in the future. And that brings me up against Mary's strong-willed nature. I want to protect my heir, who's now 6 months old at the beginning of the series, and also to allow Mary to grieve in the way that I think she should grieve, which is probably forever.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, whose character is sadder? I wonder about this, because you were sort of in love with him. Everybody, the great Alan Leach, you do such a great job playing Branson. Are we going to see the sadness sort of start to lift for you? Where are you as we move forward?
Yeah, as we go into season 4, Branson is now estate manager, so he's got a lot of responsibility within the estate, but also he's the only person who really knows what Mary's gone through. So he becomes a confidant and a friend to her, and tries to get her through her
Julian, I'm just saying.
I'm not saying.
If it was the American version, you know. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
All right, and I want to get to the rest of you. Rob, hello.
Hello.
Welcome. I heard during the pre-interview you were quite fun and that you might be the wild card.
A little bit feisty.
A little feisty.
Yeah.
And Alan and you are dear friends, I guess, off the set. You hang out when you're not working?
There's a bit of a hard to pin him down, but yeah.
There's a bit of a bromance going on.
Oh, we love a good bromance here at Good Morning America, so that's nice to see. And look at you two beautiful ladies.
Us?
Yes, I can't leave out Phyllis Logan, Mrs. Hughes. You're like the glue that holds it all together.
I like to think so. Yes. Yes, in some respects, yes. Certainly downstairs she tries to keep her. But, you know, Mrs. Patmore puts her oar in as well.
And how about Mrs. Patmore at the end of last season?
What, with my boyfriend? I know.
I loved that.
I know. He only stayed for 5 minutes. Though.
I know. But more to come, I hope?
Well, I'm having a word with...
The
boss?
They were 5 good minutes.
They were fantastic.
Julian saying, don't get two.
No, I enjoyed it, but I put in a request for maybe another one, but you know.
Well, we did get a tweet. Everybody wanted to know how much are you missing Dan Stevens? One of our audience members wants to know. How's that been for you?
Well,
we're missing him so much we're insisting on having a drink with him tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Are you going to?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love hearing that. That makes us happy. We all sort of in our heads, fans of Downton Abbey, I think, want to believe that. So it's so lovely to meet you all in person. Upstairs or downstairs, the next big romance? Just tell us that. That's all I need to know.
Maybe both.
I can't.
All right, we'll all have to wait to find out. What a treat it's been for me and for our viewers. Thank you so much for all getting up early for us on Good Morning America. And we cannot wait to see you. Everybody, the new season of Downton Abbey premieres January 5th on Masterpiece. It's on PBS.